My name is Rob Linden, and today we'll be discussing Chapter 13. If it's not happening, it's because you're not doing it. Alright, so for the first slide, these people, social activism for the greater good. We're talking about TXU, microfinance, digital divide. Citizens for the greater good, we'll be discussing the new pen pal, mouse.org, and virtually flattened walls. And then corporations for the greater good, talking about conservation, international, and business to make a difference. So social activism for the greater good. TXU was a massive Texas power company that planned to build 11 coal power plants in 2006. Fred Krupp, who was the president of the Environmental Defense, asked for a meeting and was denied. He then created StopTXU.com, built a national contingency, and finally got environmentalists to the table. And then a quote from the chapter found on page 491. Krupp said, "What is the message when the largest buyout in history is made contingent on winning praise for its greenhouse gas plan? It tells us that the markets are ahead of the politicians." The next, Muhammad Yunus, he was a 2006 Nobel Peace Prize winner. In 1976 in Bangladesh, he founded the Grameen Bank, which granted small loans without collateral to the poorest members of the society in this country. And with 98% payback rate, Yunus quoted that not having collateral is one thing, but not being creditworthy is another. Social activism for the greater good. Continued, Jeremy Hockenstein, he was the founder of Digital Divide Data in Cambodia. And when he was on vacation, he saw Cambodians at internet cafes and went to school but had no jobs once they all graduated. He then created an outsourced data entry industry. And then two of the quotes found on page 500. The first one is, it's not one of dominating the others. It is a real collaboration that is creating better futures for the people at the bottom and the top. And the next quote is, two people and a computer were able to create better lives for 300 people. Two people on the website can do anything now. And citizens for the greater good. Julie Lindsay, she was at international school at Dhaka in Bangladesh, and Vicki Davis, Westwood Schools in Camilla, Georgia. These two teachers collaborated across the globe to create the Flat Classroom project, which gave students from both classes the task of creating wiki pages based on one of the 10 flatteners that we previously learned in the chapters. And then we may be from opposite sides of the world, where students became one class tethered by invisible bits and bytes. And then Andrew Rashid, founder of mouse.org, he wanted to bring more technology to New York public schools. He ran for public office and tried to get universal Wi-Fi and cell coverage citywide. He was all about involving community to solve the problems for the greater good. And then he said, once elected official alone, I cannot solve the problems of 8 million people, but 8 million people networked together can solve one city's problem.
Hey, how you doing? My name is Michael Raftery. I'll be doing the second half of this presentation on Chapter 13 for International Financial Management. I'm going to start on slide 6. Citizens for the Greater Good. Mahmoud Al-Yusuf used his popular blog site Mahmoud's Den to demonstrate to the citizens of Bahrain the extent of class inequality. He encouraged citizens to Google Earth their country to see inside the palace walls of the elite, but next to the crowded areas of poverty. A quote by Friedman on page 508, and then along came Google Earth. It flattened the walls, and suddenly everyone could look inside and act on what they saw. Next slide, corporations for the greater good. Glenn Prickett, SVP of Conservation International, worked with McDonald's to set guidelines for socially responsible food supply. A quote by Prickett, "There is no global government authority to protect biodiversity. You have to collaborate with the players who can make a difference, and one of them is McDonald's." Page 509. Next, he worked with Walmart to think about how they use energy in their supply chain and also to create standards that Walmart expects its suppliers to adopt. Another quote by Prickett, "It tells other CEOs that if the world's largest retailer has taken this seriously, there must be something to it." Prickett, page 510. Corporations for the greater good. HP, Dell, IBM all formed an alliance. Joined together with their suppliers to promote a unified code of socially responsible manufacturing practices across the world. A quote by Deborah Dunn of HP SVP. We have the power to transmit global governance to our universe of supplies and employees and consumers, which is a pretty broad universe. Rob Watson, CEO of Ecotech International NRDC, founded LEAD, which stands for Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design. In seeing the need for new green frameworks, Watson recommended attending business school. Watson, a quote by Watson, I felt that as a business person, I could make the case for this paradigm shift more effectively than as a nonprofit environmental advocate. So we're going to go to the discussion questions. Number 1, think of the current event that falls under one of the 3 main topics. Question 2, think about and discuss a time you or someone you know was involved in a grassroots cause for change that involved a flattener. Discussion question 3. Which path is more effective and why? Trying to make change happen through the government or directly through corporations? Thank you very much. I hope you enjoy this presentation.